What's up, everybody? It's Tyler here from Second Glass, and this week for the Wine of the Weekend, we are doing white wines from the Rueda region of Spain. Alright, so Rueda is a region in north-central Spain, and like a lot of regions in Spain, they've been making wine for a really long time. So around the 11th century is when they started making wine. It was monks in monasteries, there was a king who was like, yeah, make wine, yada yada. And for the next 700 years, that's what they did. They made wine, sent it to the king, people drank it, everybody was happy. In the 18th century, they started making really good wine, and people were getting pretty impressed with it. They were like, wow, this wine's really good. You guys are doing a great job. But something happened. It was the late 1800s, early 1900s, and phylloxera hit. We've done some other videos on it before. You can check out the video, which will be maybe here. Basically what happened is the French came over to North America, and they were like, holy crap, you guys have grapes here. And they were like, we have grapes. So they took the grapes from North America and they brought them to France. At the same time, they brought the grapes from France and they took them to North America because they were like, let's see what we plant where and what happens. Well, what they didn't know is they brought this tiny little aphid with them. And this aphid went nuts on the European grapes because it was actually a different species. So this tiny aphid started going nuts on the European grapes because they're actually a different kind of grape. And the North American ones are resistant to phylloxera. Well, they didn't know that. And so Europe almost lost all of their grapevines. It was almost a complete catastrophe and wine almost ceased to exist. The last minute they figured out the North American grape roots are resistant, so they ended up replanting every grapevine in Europe with American roots. They just grafted the European tops onto the American roots. Bada bing, bada boom, situation fixed. But when they were doing this, they really had to decide what they were going to replant. And a lot of areas of Europe that weren't particularly famous either didn't get replanted or got replanted with crappy wine that turned into jug wine. So that's what happened in Rueda. So for like 50 or 60 years, they didn't make bad wine, but they just didn't really do anything with it. They sold it as bulk wine. Until 1972, when a major winery from the Rioja region, which is a super famous region of Spain, came in and invested a lot of money into Rueda. And what they did is they made sure that they planted 3 key grapes: Verdejo, Viura, and Sauvignon Blanc. And right now, that's the grapes that they blend together. Verdejo is the main grape. It's light, it's crisp, it's refreshing. It can be a little bit heavy sometimes, but it's very similar to Sauvignon Blanc. Viura is the other one, and it actually goes by a different name in the rest of Spain where they call it Macabeo, which you probably haven't heard of. But if you've had Spanish Cava, it's one of the main grapes in that. When they make Cava, they call it Macabeo, and pretty much in the rest of Spain. In Rueda, they call it Viura because they want to confuse you to no end. So we picked 3 different wines for you this week, and to tell you the truth, they don't differ in flavors that much, so I'm not really going to go into detail about each one. But if you watch, I'm going to try to say them, and my Spanish isn't great, and it'll be fairly amusing. What you want to do with the Rueda wines is you want to pair them with, like summer outdoors. I got the summer hat on. You can do it with like seafood, with sushi, with salads. The best thing, super freaking affordable, man. Like we're talking about like $7 or $8 to like $15 for a really nice bottle of white wine. And I found that pretty much every major wine store has them. And if you go to a Spanish restaurant, especially a tapas joint, this will be probably the cheapest wine on the wine list as far as white wines go. But it's really high quality wine. It's really great. They just aren't a famous region. So now I'm going to try to read the 3 wines that we've chosen for you. This is the name of this winery is Yllera. YLL is how it starts. Yllera Family Vina 65. It's Yllera. Yllera. Bodegas Shea Arindo. Bodegas Shea Arindo. Not too bad. Reina de Castilla. Bodegas Reina de Castilla makes a wine called Isabelino. Those are the 3 wines we suggest you guys try. But really, go grab any wine from the Rueda region, anything that you can find. Rueda wines are light, they're crisp, they're refreshing, very similar to Sauvignon Blanc. Killer wine. Cheers.